Mandato good, good morning, sir. It's topic 3, Marple Annex 1 to 6, mandatory regulation and legislative requirements. Mandatory regulation. In the context of Marple International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, the term mandatory regulation refers to a set of rules and standards that must be followed by ships to ensure compliance with the convention. These regulations are not optional; they are obligatory and binding for all ships falling under scope of MARPOL. The mandatory regulation cover various aspects of pollution prevention and environmental protection in the maritime industry. Each MARPOL annex addresses specific types of pollutions and outlines regulation to prevent for or minimize these pollutants. The mandatory nature of this regulation emphasizes the commitment to international community to safeguard the marine environment and reduce the impact of shipping activities. MARPOL Annex 1 Oil Pollution Prevention. Mandatory regulation focus on the prevention of oil pollution from ships, including regulation for oil tankers, oil record books, oil discharge monitoring equipment, and shipboard of oil pollution emergency plans, or SOPEPS. MARPOL Annex 2 Noxious Liquid Substances. Mandatory regulation address the prevention of pollution by noxious liquid substances carried in bulk. This includes regulation for the construction and equipment of ships, the categories of substance and procedures for discharge. MARPOL Annex 3 Harmful substances in package form. Mandatory regulation cover the prevention of pollution by harmful substances in package form. This includes labeling, packing, and documentation requirement for the transport packaged dangerous goods. MARPOL Annex 4 Sewage pollution prevention. Mandatory regulations focus on preventing pollution from sewage heating standards, sewage treatment system discharge criteria, and the implementation of shipboard marine pollution emergency plans, or SMPEPS. MARPOL Annex 5 Garbage Pollution Prevention. Mandatory regulation address the prevention of pollution by garbage from ships. This regulation include requirements for the disposal of various types of garbage, special areas, and management of the ship-generated garbage. MARPOL Annex 6 Air Pollution Prevention. Mandatory regulation aim to prevent air pollution from ship by setting standard for emission of sulfur oxide, or SOx, nitrogen oxide, or NOx, and particular matter. The annex also includes energy efficiency measures. Legislative requirements. In the legislative requirements in the context of MARPOL International Convention for Prevention of Oil Pollution from Ships, the term legislative requirements refers to the specific laws and regulation and that have been established by the contracting parties countries to implement and enforce the provision of MARPOL Annexes 1 to 6. These legislative requirements are the domestic laws enacted by individual countries to give effect on the international standard and obligations set out in MARPOL. MARPOL Annex 1 Air Pollution Prevention. Legislative requirements may include national regulation covering the construction and equipments of oil tankers, oil spill response plans, regular requirements for oil record books, and penalties for violation related to the oil pollution prevention. MARPOL Annex 2 Noxious liquid substance. Countries enact legislative requirements to ensure compliance with the regulation outlined in Annex 2. This may include laws related to the construction and equipment of ships carrying noxious liquid substances, procedures for the issuance of international pollution prevention certificates (NLS) certificate, and penalties for non-compliance. MARPOL Annex 3 Harmful substance in package form. Legislative requirements cover the domestic implementation of regulation related to the packing, labeling, and documentation of packaged harmful substances. Countries may establish laws to enforce proper handling, stowage, and transports of dangerous goods. MARPOL Annex 4 Sewage Pollution Prevention. Legislative requirements in this context involves national laws that translate the standard and guidelines outlined in Annex 4 into domestic regulations. This includes laws governing the construction and use of sewage treatment system, discharge criteria, and implementation of shipboards marine pollution emergency plans. Marple Annex 5, Garbage Pollution Prevention. Legislative requirements encompass domestic laws addressing the prevention of pollution by garbage from ships. This include regulation on the disposal of different types of garbage, requirements for garbage management plans, and penalties for violation. Marple Annex 6, Air Pollution Prevention. Legislative requirements related to Annex 6 involves domestic law and addressing air pollutions prevention from ship. This includes regulation on sulfur oxide and nitrogen oxide emission, the use of compliant fuels, and the implementation of energy efficiency measures. That's all, sir.